of the world that might be watching this afternoon. This is Wild Earth, and this is Djuma Game Reserve, our live safari this afternoon. And a very windy day. We've got a very strong wind coming in. Now, I think there's some pretty strong weather coming in up the south, quite far south of us, in a province known as KwaZulu-Natal, an area known as Pietermaritzburg. And I think traditionally when there is a lot of rain down there, there's probably weather cell or whatever it is down there is probably responsible for the wind that we're getting up here today. And the wind is quite a game changer, if you'll excuse the pun. But I'm hoping that this afternoon we're going to be able to see some wonderful things. Hope you're going to join us for the next few hours as Brent and Brian on the other vehicle. And Scott, for that matter, because Scotty's also, I think Scott's on the vehicle with Brent and Brian this afternoon, and I hope that we're going to find you some wonderful things. Brent is heading up to Buffelshoek Dam. He's going to try and find us those lion that we saw this morning, or at least follow up on what they've done. There might be sea roam. It's always nice to be able to follow up on them in the afternoon. Because there's some times when we can be here for a couple of weeks and not have lion come through. Understand how that all works, but we're in a very, very big wildlife area. The wildlife area of the Kruger National Park, or what is known as the Greater Kruger National Park. And on the wolf are, sorry, just trying to keep my earpiece. On the western edge of the Kruger, they're vast, they're huge properties. They some of them are thousands of hectares. I just found a feather. And the wind is going to pick it up. You see, here in nature, you guess what that feather is from. WildEarthTV. Don't even need to write an email. Just like maybe one of the secondary, a flight feather, one of the secondary feathers, not necessarily, not quite faint. Oh, don't think it's a primary. Maybe it is. Put it there in the dashboard to remind us. Interesting bird. Anyways, as I was saying, the western edge of Kruger, there are a lot of, in some cases it was cattle grazing land, in some cases it was just wild bushveld that was a buffer zone between Kruger and the inhabited areas, or the rural area. A long time ago, probably around 22 years ago, it was decided to incorporate all of these private reserves, all of these private areas into animals, but that didn't mean that us humans could cross over into different areas. We still confined to specific properties. So while we might have a fairly small traversing area, the animals have millions of acres. I mean, this is probably one of the biggest national parks, one of the biggest wildlife areas, because there is a mirror area in Mozambique to our eastern boundary. known as the Limpopo Frontier National Park. At time there will be a lot more private reserves or private land and other government land added to this. There is, of course, we were staying in Manyeleti. Manyeleti is a provincial reserve, a game reserve, rather than a national park. But it is not national park, but that too was incorporated into Kruger. And while, as I said, there's no movement of and well, it's interesting to note that in the time of our presence on the planet as human beings, when habitat is shrinking, when we are destroying forests, when we are limiting wildlife to smaller and smaller areas, is to create larger areas for wildlife and trying to increase the size of Africa. We have some very big animals that need a lot of space, and what we do here as we drive around and we try and find some of those animals to share a moment in time with those animals, with you, the viewer, wherever you are on the planet. And it's great to hear from you. It's great to know where out there that are also interested and passionate about wildlife and passionate about what we have here. Unique opportunity to drive a fantastic vehicle through a fantastic area. I could just use the word fantastic over and again. Just to view some of Africa's iconic, only stop for the big things. I hope that we're going to find some of the smaller things that we can look at. Got to find a flower this afternoon. I'm hoping that a little bit of thanks Diane and Linda. Just on the feather, by the way, guinea fowl feather. It is helmeted guinea fowl. One in. Better. Very windy today. Now I expect that our game viewing is going to be somewhat hindered by the wind today, and one of the main reasons for that is that animals rely on sound of early predator detection, whether it is the sound of a predator snapping a twig or walking through the grass, but I suppose most importantly it's the sound of other animals that might be aware of the predator's presence. Very few birds that are out and about doing their thing. A lot of animals and birds also tucked in. It's a strong wind. It's sufficient to have a lot of animals hiding, keeping tucked away. And of course, well, it does make it easier for predators in weather like this. And the rest of the crew have headed up towards Buffelsroof Dam, and they are following up on the lion that we found this morning. It's a pride of lion that we know as the Nkuhuma pride. There are 8 of them. 3 females, 3 sub-adults, and 2 juveniles. and it sounds like he's found them, but we are having signal problems. We've had bad weather. These things happen out here with intricate technical operation that requires, well, that allows broadcast from a vehicle out here in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the bush, to be able to have this kind of equipment on a vehicle and broadcasting to masts, and it's, well, it's, I don't know, it's involved in technical, but suffice it to say, there I need to be heading, and our pieces of equipment that allow us to broadcast, and we need to just reboot it and reset it, and hopefully it's all going to work fine. Our viewing might be a little bit tight this afternoon, and we're going to maybe have a look at a few things that I brought along. I brought some insects. The insects, once they fulfill their function as an adult insect, they lay eggs, they die. It's one of those sad facts of life. They don't live very long. But what it does do is it gives me an opportunity to show you things without impacting on a living creature's life, because I really don't like doing that. And sometimes I do handle live creatures. I don't seek them out to catch them, but if they land in the vehicle, or if I need to move them somehow because I don't want them to be squashed. But what makes it great is that when they die, they just leave these shells behind, and I think I have a few interesting ones in the lions and whatever else it is that we might be finding. And if we don't get to them today, we can get to them any other time. Very interesting. For something of colour on the termite ground. I don't know whether it was a butterfly or a flower. But yes, I am looking for flowers this afternoon. Butterfly. A butterfly, maybe. Sitting on the leeward side of male butterflies, not all of them, but there are some male butterflies that are far more intricate or colourful than the females. It's like some of the birds are, some of the lizards. And of course it is only our interpretation of it. Of course what it is really is colours that, so it's the colours that are displayed to be able to stand out above your rival males, and it's that attractiveness, I suppose, that attracts the females. And of course the strongest colours and the best colours are the ones that will know your whole drive from that alone. A lot of baboon tracks, an entire troop of baboon headed down Zoe's Road, by the way. We've been following their track. Now we're heading up to the plains, and I'm going to have to briefly say goodbye as we get this cloud. There's still a bit of sunshine coming through. Tempestuous. Maybe it's a bit quite as bad as that. Zebra tracks. Going the other way. Maybe we can find them. Private game reserve. We went out a bit earlier than what we normally do this afternoon to try get lions that we saw this morning, and we found them literally. But as I said this morning, when following predators,
patience is the most important weapon in your arsenal. So we're going to sit here, and hopefully within the next few minutes, hopefully sooner rather than later, they're going to get moving, and we have the opportunity to follow them while they're hunting, because they are definitely hungry. And they're ahead, and she's started grooming. And then on the back of the vehicle today we've got Brian, more about how to operate the camera. So the three of us.
Get your goddamn focus right, man.
Or sort of see, and maybe here it's still quite windy. The sky has cleared a little bit, but there's quite a bit of cloud around. They still look very comfortable. So from where they were lying this morning, so they probably moved out of that open patch where they're lying to get a bit of shade. But quite lucky, they haven't gone very far, so it was quite easy for us to find them again this afternoon. Her ear that is constantly flicking is actually a small species of biting fly that you can just see hovering, and that's what's causing her ear to flick constantly. And you can even see a bit of the scarring on the edges of the ears caused by those flies. Think about the patience. I mean, imagine we had a fly biting our ear. So there's actually quite a lot of them there. They're tiny as well. On Twitter to hashtag Safari Live, or email questions@wildearth.tv. Looks like the one in the middle is dreaming. You just see the paw twitching. So if we work out what time we found these lions this morning, Brian, what time did we find them? About 7? Till now, which I'm not sure the time now, but it's probably just after 4.
Yeah, it's 4 now.
4:30. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4. They've already had a full 8 hours sleep, what most of us would enjoy during a soon either. I don't know if anyone who was with us this morning can remember why the lions, it's quite important for lions, why lions need to lie very close to each other. Send your answers to hashtag at Safari Live or questions at WildEarthTV. Last station, go again. Very pretty dappled light on them. Sure, you guys are quiet out there today, but we've had one correct answer from Kathleen. He says they're bonding. This morning we spoke about how lions, being a social animal, it's quite important for them to, especially because of the way lions behave around kills, where they literally forget all their manners and it's each lion for itself. So the reason they lie in sort of a lion pile, for lack of a better description, is to reaffirm those social bonds within the pride. Good afternoon, Sarah. Welcome on Drive with us this afternoon. Sarah would like to know what causes the lions to wake up. Is it the proximity of a prey animal or just both? And other reasons? if an Inyala or a Kudu or any of the prey species happen to stumble, they are predators and they are opportunists. They're not going to look a free meal in the mouth. The other reason is that they're possibly not getting moving just yet, and that's the reason that they sleep for so long. Another reason they might get up is the proximity of a unfamiliar pride, or unfamiliar males, or even familiar males, or another predator coming close by, leopard or hyena. They'd probably chase them. But I'm hoping they're probably going to get up. As I said, animals love to prove you wrong. As soon as you say something, they're definitely going to get up in the next half an hour. They're from about 5 to 5:30 as it cools down a little bit. They are hungry, so that would cause them to get up. But even if they weren't hungry, sometimes they might just get up to move on. Sorry, go again with the name. Copy, thanks. Good afternoon, Jim from Texas. Welcome on Drive with us this afternoon. Jim also commented on the reason they lie so close together, and he said it's because the rest can sleep. Well, I've got to show us the rest of the lions. You will see there's not one lion that is alert in this pride, so they are relying on other senses, and you must remember their high sense of smell and hearing to pick up if something is coming close to them, and then react accordingly, whether it be a prey species or a potential threat. Good afternoon, Caroline from Missouri. Welcome on Drive. Caroline just had a comment that she said, isn't it a bit strange that the lions are all lying together even though it's so hot? Well, for this part of it's a bit chilly. Well, not chilly, it's warmish, but for lions it's not that hot, and affirming those social bonds amongst the pride are very important. So even in times of extreme heat, you'll often find the lions still lying very close together. And I'm sure to a degree relationships in the pride. Good afternoon, Susan from Tennessee. Welcome to Djuma and game drive this afternoon. Susan would like to know whether if a new coalition of males took over, just accept the new coalition, or would they sometimes reject them? I think the two females, I'm not 100% sure here, about what, 7, 8 months old, maybe a bit older. The two younger cubs. So when that new coalition came on, you'll probably find these females, as Pride would try, and that young male as well, is also below in age. That is good for him. Sorry, that was really badly put. But so yeah, cubs that were of an age that the males would kill. For a female cub, it's generally about 2 years. But with the male cub, it doesn't matter the age of the male cub. The new coalition moving in would kill him. So, and even in the beginning, because they're unsure of the lions, even if they didn't have cubs that were under there, sometimes it would take a bit of time for the coalition to make moves, so to speak, on the female. Alex, I copied that. I'll double check with Aubrey now. Aubrey coming? Aubrey, do you copy? Aubrey. So we've got a bit of cloud cover moving in. I just heard from Mark on the radio that it looks like there might be a little bit of a storm coming in, but hopefully it misses us and passes either further. Mark, I can't. Good afternoon, Katrina in Washington. Welcome on Drive this afternoon. Katrina would like to know if lions have a symbiotic relationship with any other animals. Well, I suppose you could call relationship symbiotic there. You could call it parasitism, but it wouldn't exactly be correct. Not really, no. They only really have a relation. An enemy is another predators or food. Sorry, does any station copy me? patrol stations. Does any station copy? Hi, good afternoon. It's Brent from Wild Earth. Just an update. There's the Pride of Ngala on Buffalo's Hook East Road lying up, probably about 150 meters from the road, about 500 meters from Buffalo's Hook cut line. And then Aubrey from Djuma had tracks in that area following up. Good afternoon, Happy Cub from Pennsylvania. Welcome on Drive with us this afternoon. Just give me 1 second. Sorry, standby one. Happy Cub would like to know whether lion cubs have an inherent fear, so to speak, of predators like hyenas. And to answer that, Happy Cub, most definitely. It's an instinctive response, the same as they have by avoid predators. Like hyenas and leopards, and in lions in that case as well, unfamiliar lions. So yes, they do have an inherent fear or an instinctive fear. Last station, do you copy? Station looking for an update in the north. Do you copy? Alex, coming. Alex, is it possible? Camera. Okay guys, we're just going to have to cut to Mark quickly, so we need to get the camera into its rain cover. So we're going to hand you over to Mark. Enjoy whatever on the western side of the reserve.
Welcome back to our side of Djuma, everybody. I believe you've been sitting with some lion. Great, sounds great. Amazing that we can have this. It's also quite amazing that we've got some darkness befalling us, and I'm heading to our... We had our fireside chat last night, a little area where we put up a tarpaulin just in case for one of these very, let's see it, it's coming, and it's almost an inevitability. I don't know how much of it's going to hit us. It's not a very broad rainfall, this, but it is blasting our way. Oh, it's heavy, and and my hat's going to get wet. Changes things a little bit for a Monday afternoon here in Africa. It's already raining. It seems to be. That's going to hit Brent. Oh, look at that, Andrew. That's going to be hitting Brent, Brian, and Scott any second now. They're putting the rain cover on. That's one of the reasons why you've come back to me. Let's not. Because here we go, the rain has just started falling now. I'm going to try and... Alright, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to tie it to the door or something, but I'm going to try... We're going to be under this. And... welcome to Africa! Oh, it's going to come in sideways. I think we're going to have to leave it. Yeah. There's even a wind. One's not a windmill. It's a rainbow. Gosh, I'm so excited today. Rain. The rainbow is over Little Dam. The guys at Little Dam are going to get hit. I'm afraid I'm going to have to get back to camp. We'll just stop falling against the wind. And I think if the wind picks up, it's going to take it away from me, and we're going to be left out here in the open. This is not going to last long. We'll probably be back out again in maybe even half an hour or less. This is such a strong wind. Okay, sorry folks, we got to go.
A few droplets are hitting me out the back here.
It's good for me heading to camp. The wind is just going to have to do what it wants to do today. There's nothing I can do about it right now. Look at it. It's picking up even stronger. We're going to race back to camp. I'm going to try and get under the shelter at camp. I know it does leak a little bit. Here comes the rain. Sorry folks, it's going to have to just use third gear every now and then. And I can maybe just stay ahead of the bulk of it. Are you okay, Andrew?
Yep.
Look how dark it is. You know, came right onto quarantine, and I said something, and Andrew said something about Mordor, and I didn't quite get it until I looked and saw the darkness that came in fast and furious, and woo! I can talk to you when we get under the cover. It might make a lot of noise because it is an aluminium or aluminum. It's corrugated iron. Actually, not corrugated iron roof. That's going to make a noise with the rain, but yo. Gonna have to rest on the wood. We did get wet, but not too wet. How does my hat look? Oh, that's oh, my hat got wet. Yeah, it's not too bad. It's an Nkuhuma. They're designed to be in the rain. Only I don't like it getting in the rain. My eyes are wet. I wonder if it has anything to do with the waxing moon and we're really getting close to full moon and the weather's going to intensify up till then. I wonder. Okay, I've got to find a lens cloth. I brought photo. You know, it's not that I anticipate show and tell things because I had a feeling that with the wind we might not see much, and I thought maybe what I could do is I could stop every now and then. Is that better? Yeah, maybe a little bit. Makes me look a bit more pale, but yeah, I've got to find the lens plate. Gonna be windy. So, good idea, Alex. We need to know how the guys are faring, because they're out there at Buffelshoek Dam with those lions. And I wish we could film that in the rain, but unfortunately, having the vehicle on with that amount of... Might not do. We might even only have the edge of it. And we're still going to have a sunny sunset. Okay. Great update from Brent. I'm listening to Alex and Brent chatting on the radio, and Brent is saying that they've got the whole cover over the vehicle, and I'm going to get sort of set up here and sort of dry a few things off. So I'm going to cut back to Brent. They've got the cover over them. I'm sure that might be quite a bit of fun, or rather, sorry, and Brian and Scott, and see what they've got to tell you. See you, Nana.
Oh. Hi guys, quick update from us. We haven't left the lions. We're just hiding under our little rain cover. We just check every now and then that the lions are still there. Hopefully this will pass over, and we will get to see the lions doing something a bit more interesting just now. So for now, I think we're going to go back to Mark. It's probably far more interesting than us sitting under a green tarpaulin. So enjoy.
Well, it was a lot of rushing, and there was a lot of panic. For I think we were caught in the bulk of it. As we arrived here was when most of the rain was falling. It seems to be that most of it has actually fallen. There's blue sky in the south now. The wind is actually stopping, believe it or not. It was slowing down. It's not as windy as it was just prior to this little downpour. It's still raining a little bit, so we're still going to chat a little bit under the cover here while we can, and then I'm sure we can uncover the vehicle and they can get back to the lion and see what's happening. We're going to continue. There was news that Karula was somewhere around here, and it would be nice, especially after this little bit of rain, because now her tracks will be very, very fresh. I'll be able to put a time frame, almost like a time stamp, on any fresh tracks that I see, whether it's Karula or an impala or a giraffe, and we really would love to, because it was such a short, quick rainfall, and it would cover any tracks from up till that point, and from anything now, very easy to read, and we'll be able to see. I need to maybe find out from Aubrey, one of the guides, so where maybe he left the tracks or where he saw them. But some people, I've noticed there's been a lot of conversation about our drives at the moment, and there have been a few people, few comments about our insistence, I suppose, in some ways, to find the big animals, and that there are a lot of viewers out there. But I just wanted to mention that sometimes driving around, it's greater to have a bit of a purpose, and following tracks is that very thing. You know, we come to junctions in the road, and most of the time it's a dilemma when you come to a road that forks or there's a junction. Which way do you go? Because on the left, and what you might find on the right, or what you might miss out on. And whenever we've got tracks, it actually helps us take a direction, and it doesn't really matter where we drive. In much the same way as when there aren't tracks, whichever way we go, we have the same chance of finding animals. It's like a 50-50 thing, except that when we do find tracks, we still drive time. We're keeping track of a particular individual or a particular pride of lion or a group of elephants or buffalo and something like that, or giraffe even for that matter. So they do help to give us a little bit of direction and make decisions about which way to go, left or right. And Brent showed that this morning. He did some great tracking and actually managed to find those lions after tracking all morning. And what it does is it gives us a chance to observe lion, and hopefully now after the rain, because I believe it's pretty clear at Buffelshoek Dam and they seem to be opening up there. And what I'm going to do now, because it's stopped here too, and we're going to head out, but I'm going to head, they might be getting active, we don't know. There's just been a bit of rain. We'll see what they've got up to. So we'll see you then now, and I'm going to carry on.
Welcome back, guys. As you can see, we weathered the storm. Fortunately, it was a small one, and the rain just came down not too hard, but for about 5 to 10 minutes. We managed to get covered up, see some movement, especially with that little bit of rain. Would have dropped the temperature quite a bit, but well, hopefully they do get moving quite soon. To know whether the full moon affects animals' behavior. Yes, it does to a degree. Despite popular belief and a lot of stories that lions like to hunt under a full moon, they will hunt when they're hungry, and it's actually probably one of the worst times for a lion to hunt, because with all the ambient light created by the moon, it's much easier for the prey species to be able to see the predators. So the prey species are probably the way, they just probably have a less successful success rate in hunting during the full moon. I'm just going to move back a little bit, see if we can get those two playing. They're just behind a tree at the moment. Oh no, they're going to stand up, move for us. There we go. Oop. Background. It might be my camera. Afternoon, Steve, on Twitter, Welcome on Drive this afternoon. Steve just had a little bit of a humorous comment. He's saying it looked like we were inside a termite mound when we were under the top hall and waiting for the rain to pass. Come on, kitty cats, it's time to get moving. This is all looking quite promising. Good afternoon, Jason from the UK. Welcome on Drive with us this afternoon. Jason would like to know whether lions and other predators have the ability to pick up on disease in other animals. Not for the majority of the diseases. I don't think they can pick up bovine tuberculosis in the buffalo they hunt, or tapeworm or liver fluke infestations. I think they eat what they catch. The only disease I know most animals, elephants, lions, domestic animals can almost pick up immediately and avoid. In Botswana, chase an elephant bull, and the elephant bull running away from this tiny thing. I definitely think that the elephant could sense there was something completely wrong. And most animals I know of will really bad symptoms: hydrophobia, huge increased aggression, foaming at the mouth. I think most animals will pick up on that and then try to avoid that animal at all costs. Looks like they were just moving a little bit to try to get us excited. Then flop. Go ahead, go ahead. It's Brent from Wild Earth. If you can copy Amnesia on Zoe's. Come on, guys. Temperatures drops. It's time to get moving. There we go. A little bit more movement. Okay. Two, three, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Sorry. 7, 8 in the back. So 8 in total. Good afternoon, Kathleen from Twitter. I'm not exactly sure which little black spots. We're just going to have a look on the closest lioness. I'm guessing would be the one. And let's have a closer look. Those look to be flies that are just resting on it at the moment. You can actually see some of them moving. There's some on the grass. Lions, apart from their sleek appearance, are actually quite smelly animals. We've got some oxpeckers flying overhead. Oh, it's quite interesting one. Only one head up at the moment. No problem. Okay guys, while these cats are still flat, we're going to play the patience game. We're going to wait it out here a bit longer, so we're going to hand you back to Mark and see what he's got.
Hi everyone, welcome back to this side of Djuma. Still those that we just experienced now. I've managed to do a little bit of a drive all the way around Gowrie Dam, and I'm now on Central Road, and what I'm trying to do is pick up any signs of Karula. There were reports that there was some hard and that long that it washed things away. All it did was it changed the patina of the sand, which will ordinarily leave tracks quite fresh, or fresher tracks. I do want to stay a little bit closer to home. There is another storm moving through, or I won't call it a storm, call them isolated, fortunately I would say. But I think that one's actually a little bit too far to the west that we need to worry about it. And hopefully we get some of this blue sky that we're looking at now. Quite incredible how the tipping ended up in the north, 300 Japan. Sort of dark sky that we're looking up at. The northeast now is pretty much where everything, oh sorry, northwest, what am I saying? Quite miraculous really, or quite remarkable rather than miraculous, but it's quite interesting how we had such a strong wind, how it was blasting through here at such a rate of knots, and now all of a sudden after that little storm had quietened down, there was virtually no wind at all. Wind picking up. I call this the rain wind. To me, since I was a kid, it was, with all that water falling down, there must be turbulence in it, and that, let me keep my hands on the wheel, but that's what forces this, or rather what creates this wind that precedes some of these really intense little showers that we get, as opposed to a large weather front that comes in and settles in for a couple of days. Might be getting into a signal break back towards Whistles of Dam with the signal. Start breaking up, but I'll be back with you shortly. I'm going to head back towards the west and see what I can find in that direction. Twitter, thanks. Asking Brent to try and get hold of Aubrey to find out if there's any news on those tracks that were seen, but no luck this afternoon. We're on our own. Not true wilderness. I think a true wilderness is characterized by no signs of human presence. No roads, no dams, no infrastructure. And so I think to find must be very, very difficult. I'm sure there are some areas, maybe areas of Kruger that are still quite vast. That one wilderness. And of course up in East Africa there are very huge reserve places. And of course the rest of the world. Oh, there's an interesting bird, a fantastic bird in fact, hovering. And there are not many. Oh, don't go. Okay, hover here for us. Please, please, please. But they want to hunt. Not about. If I can somehow turn around and still follow. There we go. Oh, I have no idea. Where? There, it's gone behind that knob. Is one of the most common raptors we have in the country. In fact, probably throughout southern Africa. Okay, he's hovering again. He or she. Almost like a harrier, harrying. As the wind intensifies, probably makes it a little bit easier. There, look, hanging in the air again. Almost maybe 100 feet. I want to actually see its looks or its color or anything. Well, I suppose the shape of it helps. But the fact is that there are the true harriers is dropping down, is going to catch something. Snakes, lizards, rodents. I grew up with the top of a telephone pole very close to my bedroom window. Oh, I had a little upstairs loft bedroom, and the pole to see what the kite had. Oh, I gave away the name. To see what it had eaten that day. Black-shouldered kite. Although it's a common bird species here in the Sabi Sand, we don't get to see them very often. I can't remember when the lot. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's risen, or if it caught something, it might have stayed in the immediate vicinity behind a lot of bushes here. That race, I should have mentioned that the size. Because jackal buzzard, Raisa in Finland, who is today you're wrong, but that's my fault really, because I didn't give you scale or anything, and the bird flying against this jackal buzzard, much bigger bird, but also I don't think we would ever see a jackal buzzard here. Well, if not maybe a little bit bigger, if I'm not mistaken. This is a bird that is about the size of a dark chanting grasshawk, maybe a bit smaller than a chanting grasshawk. But I'm sure now that I've mentioned it, Raisa knows which bird I'm talking about. Yeah, like that. And they are slightly more, their habitat is more
Start and end your day on safari. Every day, twice a day through January 31st, join a real African safari.
Let's get to the next bridge. See what it looks like from there. Continue our journey through this little patch of bushveld. Susie wants to know, what did I smell? It's not that I'm smelling anything particular, Susie. I'm breathing in I'm just breathing in air.
Ooh, it's dark.
You know what it's like when there's been a little bit of a shower after it's been a bit dry, or when there's a bit of rain. It just changes the smell of things. And there are all sorts of scientific reasons for it. We don't need to really get into all of that right now. But it changes the air, and it's so amazing to be here. I forget sometimes not only how lucky I am to be here in Djuma and to be able to do what I'm doing, driving a vehicle around a really game-rich area, wildlife-rich area. I love these vehicles, I love doing this, but it's also just how lucky I am to be here physically on this planet still. Wonderful. And when I smell things like that, it's fresh air. It's just breathing in life. I'm smelling every living organism that is breathing around me, because the plants, the insects, everything needs the air, everything is breathing, everything is giving out their own breath, and we're all sharing it. We share the air. That's a nice view of what we might be in for. Maybe we need to go back a bit. There you go, look at that. That's about to blow past. Thanks, RC. Getting back to our bird that was hovering, RC saying black-winged kite. Well, I only know it as a black-shouldered kite. They might have alternative names. They are quite ubiquitous. I think we're very lucky. I think that big storm is going to move past. RC saying the black-shouldered kite is the Australian cousin. Well, we call it black-shouldered kite here. I'm going to actually wait here, just for a little bit, because that is a big one. If this little one was just a little bit of a drizzle that was wafting over us with a bit of wind, what is burning up over there, rather raining down, is the big brother. And it's quite a monster storm that's washing over. It's moving exceptionally fast. I'd say it's probably moving at about 20 knots. That's a guess. Hello, Julia. Have I ever met Ian Douglas Hamilton from Save the Elephants? I haven't really. I've read so much about him. I mean, he's probably one of my icons, probably one of my heroes. There's another character with a double-barreled name down here in South Africa, Anthony Hall Martin, who very similar. My gravity drive's just kicked in, by the way, so I'm just going to use gravity drive to wander down the hill. Ian Douglas Hamilton, what he has done up in East Africa is very similar to what Anthony Hall Martin did down here in South Africa. It's men that have worked with elephants and have had amazing breakthroughs with elephants over the course of their careers or their lives. Of course, I'd love to have met Ian's daughters as well, but that's another story. I admire the man. I think he's done amazing stuff. I suppose I can only hope to meet him one day. You see, if that's gravity drive that brought us down into the dip, maybe we need to work on sort of an anti-gravity drive that takes us up the hill. I think the storm will move over. It seems to be heading more to the west, but it's getting cool. Temperatures dropping fast. Jump with what's happening in the east. If we actually, what I'd like to do is if we stop here on the top of the ridge, I can put things into perspective for you. I can give you a bit of scale about how I am, or where I am in relationship to Brent, or in relation to Brent. I think he was out this way this morning and we followed the cats more or less from here going that way towards Buffelshoek Dam, so he would have been going from west to east this morning. We don't know, east to west. And if I just quickly, while we're on the top of this ridge, do a little bit of a zigzag. No, sadly chose the wrong spot. Not really, but there's some really nice cloud way in the east. More rain, I suppose. Those look like big cumulonimbus clouds that might be thunderstorms. There is a long road heading to the east. And I'll find my binoculars quickly. Furthermost point on this road that we can see as it heads away into the distance is the northeastern corner of Djuma, and we've got a couple. You can see how the road undulates, the dips and rises, and it's the very far rise is probably where Cheetah Cutline is, and then the little ridge just before then is more or less where, just over that ridge is where Buffelshoek Dam is, and that's way down there, which is where the Lion and Brent are. And well, I'm going to carry on going to the west, and I'm going to hand you over to Brent and Scott and Brian and see what they can fill you in on from their perspective here at Djuma Game Reserve.
Welcome back, guys. Just a quick little game that Scott, Brian and myself have been playing this afternoon. We are trying to decide, and we're placing some friendly bets to when the lines are actually going to get moving. So Scott's got 6:15, Andrew's got 25 minutes past 6, and I've got 45 minutes past 6. So if you guys want to go and play along with the game and send your answers into hashtag Safari Live or questions at WildEarthTV, and then hopefully Alex can keep a track of whatever times you guys send in, and we'll see who's the closest to when they get moving, if they get moving, because they are wild animals and we cannot force them or predict exactly what they're going to do. We can only try guess. So as you can see, there's been very little change of position since you were last with us. Quite nice. You're getting a lot of that evening chorus from the birds now, and we can hear some doves, franklin, woodlands kingfisher. For those of you who missed it, Brian, Scott and myself are having a little friendly bet on the back of the vehicle here about what time the lions are going to get moving. Scott was 6:15, which is in how many minutes?
Half an hour.
In about half an hour. And Brian was at 25 minutes past 6, so in 50 minutes. And I'm at 6:45, so right at the end there. So about just over an hour from now. So we, Alex is going to keep a check on the times you guys send in, and when and if they do get moving, we'll see who's the closest. Really hoping after that little burst of rain we had, would sort of try draw some motion out of them, but unfortunately not. Sorry, for those of you who are a bit confused why Scott is with us this afternoon. Scott's joined us and Brian's teaching him a bit of camera work, so he's learning how to operate the camera as well.
And it's not nearly as easy as Brian makes it look. So I've got a lot of lessons to learn and it's lots of fun, so enjoyable experience so far.
So if you guys have any questions, remember it's hashtag Safari Live on Twitter and questions at WildEarthTV on email. it's always a risk spending your whole afternoon with a pride of lions because they do sleep so much. But that is the benefit of us having 2 vehicles operational. The fact that we can sit here stationary waiting for the lions to get moving, and Mark is able to traverse the rest of the reserve and look for other interesting animals and birds and insects and whatever might be out there. Sorry, Alex, what was the name? Good afternoon, Raisa from Finland. Welcome on Drive with us this afternoon. Raisa just says, while we're sitting here and the lions aren't doing much, could we chat a little bit about the trees that are around us? Unfortunately, Raisa, most of the trees in our immediate vicinity are all the same species. It's called a red bush willow. Possibly one of the more interesting things about that is it's probably the densest wood that occurs in this area. It is a bush willow, so it's got those wonderful sort of 4-sided seed pods. I'm trying to see if there's one on any of them around here. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like it. I think they're all done. And what else we've got? We've got a spiky little acacia down here, right down next to the vehicle. And that looks like a young flaky thorn. Yeah, a young flaky thorn. It's a Latin name. The way I learned to remember its Latin name, which is Acacia exuvialis, is that you'd have to be really exuberant to try run through it. And then off to the left of that one, I don't know if we're going to be able to get there, or if we're going to have to move.
I think we might be able to creep in.
There we go. That is known as, is that a weeping wattle? Yeah. Looks like a young weeping wattle. The reason it gets the name a weeping wattle is from an interesting little insect called a spittlebug, or a froghopper beetle. And at certain times of the year, especially towards the end of the dry season, they sort of ensemble en masse on a certain tree species like the weeping wattle, and they attach themselves to the stems, and they feed off the sap, and they excrete a substance which is almost pure water, but at quite a rate of knots. So you can imagine when it's very dry and there's just very little grass and sand, and under these trees you'll have a sort of patch of wet, looks like drops, or it's been raining directly under that little tree or bush, and that's where they get the name weeping wattle. Scott, can you see any other interesting trees around here? Maybe behind us?
I was looking around earlier actually. There's some round-leaf teak that Brian will probably be able to
there we go.
get from his angle. not the best example, but you will be able to get a few of the round leaves.
Okay, you guys see there, leaves are very, very round. It's a very favored food of elephants, and they actually maintain it at this very small level. So in an area where you've got elephants, you'll very, very seldom see round leaf teak ever becoming a tree. But if you leave the reserve and go out into the community areas, you actually see very big specimens. So it's quite a good indicator of an area that has elephants as to an area that doesn't have, opposed to an area that doesn't have elephants. And then if we come a little bit, well, actually just one more thing on that round leaf teak. Again, when I was younger and I was trying to learn the scientific names and things of these, there's always certain things that help you remember. So with the round leaf teak, its Latin name is Pterocarpus rotundifolia. So the round, rotund refers to the round leaves. And then all I can see is a fallen down knob thorn, which is behind. If we come out to the right, you can probably see a few of their thorns there. It's not actually a great specimen. You can't see any of the knobs that give it its name. And I think that's pretty much about it in this area. There is a quite interesting tree back next to the lions. From here, I'm not 100% sure what it is. I actually think it's a corkwood, but without getting a bit closer and going to have a look properly, I can't say for sure. But to do that would probably not be in my best interest, being that it's less than 1.5 meters from the head of a sleeping lion. Now looking at the monitor here, so we can see a lot closer, I'm pretty sure it is a corkwood, but I'm not 100% sure which exact corkwood. They got a very interesting name in Afrikaans. It's called a kanniedood, which basically means I cannot die. That means if you break off even a little branch or whatnot and you put it in some soil, they grow very easily. They're fire resistant, they're drought resistant. Just have a quick look in my tree book, see if we can figure out what it is from there. Comifera. You can go with another question while I'm checking the book. Good afternoon, Kathy. Kathy would like to know whether there are any meerkats in our safari area. Unfortunately not, Kathy. Meerkats are a desert species, or a more arid species, so they only occur from here to the north, or the northwest of South Africa, and we are sort of quite far in the east. We're not very far from the Mozambique border. So an animal with a sort of similar social structure and what to the meerkats that we do get here is the dwarf mongoose and banded mongoose. But again, still quite different, but so they sort of fill the same ecological niche as meerkats do in the arid areas. And my favorite animal, Kathy, is the African wild dog. by far. For me, it's the most exciting animal to watch. They got the highest success rate when it comes to hunting. Really interesting social structures, and I just really do find them incredibly interesting and beautiful animals. Okay. Do you mind if we just go back in on that corkwood so we can see if we can get an ID on it? Is that trifoliate leaves? Yep. So the largest middle leaflet will be bigger than the two sides. That looks about right there. Main stem smooth greenish grey. Yep. I'm just going to double check a few other ones, but I think I have found it. But that's got spines there, Scott. Looks like. No. Possibly. Branchlets spine tipped. Yep. I'll just double check a few, but I'm pretty sure that's the one. Yep. It's a hairy corkwood, or harige kan nie dood in Afrikaans. A hairy cannot die. Well, here's a little bit of interesting information on that at the bottom. Medicinal and magical uses. Gum and resin used against fever, and also used as an insecticide in sort of a concoction of the sap and whatnot, is used as an insecticide against termites. Oh, very interesting. Learn something new every game drive. That's the best thing about being out in the bush. Mark, do you copy? There's a report of a Champion Cove at Philemon's Dip. Oh, very noisy Franklin there. Come on, guys. Well, this definitely won't be my longest wait, waiting for lions to do something. And our longest wait was nearly 48 hours. When we were filming something in Botswana, we literally sat with the lions for 2 days. We didn't leave. We slept in the car next to them where they were sleeping. There were 2 vehicles, so we would take turns to sort of go to the loo, stretch your legs, get out of the car. But yeah, patience often pays off. Oh, got a fright. Remember guys, if you have any questions on Twitter at #SafariLive, or if you want to email them in, questions at WildEarthTV. I copied Alex. Would you like me to do a link? Okay guys, we will continue to fight the good fight as always, and we will definitely stand by with these lines, and hopefully they do get moving shortly. I think Mark's found something interesting, so we're going to cut over to Mark.
Oh, welcome back everyone to the Jigger. I've met up with a herd of elephants, small family of elephants that are marching to the south actually. The matriarch up at front seems quite determined to get somewhere. So she's got the entire herd single file behind her. We've been monitoring this beautiful storm out in the west, most beautiful colours left behind with the, look at that, just if we can. I've got my eye on the matriarch. We'll try and keep up with them. But as this big storm that was raging in the southwest came past us in the west and is now blown off to the northwest, as it moves past, it leaves behind in its wake a gorgeous sky with the sun's rays blasting down onto the lower edges of the escarpment. And maybe we'll be able to see a little bit more of that as we may follow these alleys. But let's do that. It's cold, it's windy. In all my driving this afternoon, I've seen a couple of impala, but other than that, nothing at all. There's very few birds out. There is no bird sound at the moment, except for the odd starling and rollers. Well, I've seen a couple of rollers hunting. Now, this little herd of ellies are marching straight through towards Zoe's Road. It's quite a distance away. It'll be quite hard to follow them, especially under these conditions. Maybe I can catch up with them. I don't know how much. Here she comes. Slowed down now. Wanders into the edge of this open area. Maybe they're going to come out and feed on some grasses. Maybe she's not going to come out into this open area. Maybe she's marching south to meet up with another herd. There was a report of some elephant further south around Philemon's Dip or something, while I've been up here in the northwest. all I could really do with elephants moving the way that she's moving is maybe try and drive behind her and never know whether there might be someone lagging behind or not. And all it might really do is just make force or push them harder. And I don't want to do that at all. So I want to try and just move parallel to them, and in the process maybe get a view of the mountains and this pre-sunset glow that seems to be tinging all the cloud up ahead pink. I'm guessing that maybe she's in touch with another matriarch somewhere, and she's meeting up with another family group. There's a hornbill preening. It's a young red-billed hornbill. Bye. Good night. I hope I'm going to find these ellies again. I'm trying to match the pace. How they're coming out onto Impala Plains or up onto Zoe's Road. I'm happy with just a glimpse of ellies this afternoon. I'm happy with anything. It's been a strange weather afternoon. Temperature, after that little shower that washed over, temperature dropped so much that it's actually quite chilly. That is going to keep things in some pretty thick bush, keep them out of the wind, try and take cover. I'm kind of following them. I don't have a visual of them at the moment, but I'm hoping they're going to be coming out here either on the Impala Plains or close to the repeater. At least we've got some Impala on the Impala Plains. It doesn't happen too often. We can watch some Impala while we're waiting to see if the elephant are going to come through here. But I think they were angling a little bit more to this? Oh, stocking. That's an adult and a child stocking. Hello everybody. How's your afternoon going? Spread out. You can tell a lot by a herd of animals like this. The whole herd is spread out. They're quite comfortable, even though it's a little bit cool and it's a little bit windy. But they're out here on the grassland grazing. I suppose the grasses are opened up a little bit with this little bit of water, and it's a little more pleasant to eat than when it is very, very dry. But the fact that the herd is so widely spread out, I'm going to carry on looking for these ellies, and in the meantime I think the lion is starting to get active, and I know everybody's been very patient maybe this afternoon, and so head back to our other vehicle and see what Brent can find with those lions. I think they're getting a bit active. Oh, this whole herd is about to just run past us before we go. I think if we just they're all going to just come tearing past. The whole herd is about to... Don't even know where we should get the camera pointed, but some of the herd have run off to our left. Okay, never mind. The others are saying, well, what's the fuss? Let's go to the lion. There's better lion activity, I think. I'm going to stay here, see if the ellies come out.
Welcome back, guys. As you can see, there's a little bit more action going on.
Scott's out the run-ins.
Are we live? Alex, are we live? So you can see we've got a bit more action going on here. So the other lions that were lying a little bit further away have come to join the main pile of lions, and there's a lot more grooming, bit of stretching, so it is looking quite hopeful at the moment. Definitely in 3 or 4 of the animals there's definitely a lot more sign of life than there was 10 minutes ago. And the only one who hasn't joined the main pile is the young boy in the back, but it looks like he may get up just now. We'll keep an eye on him. Oh. Here comes a yawn. Oh, isn't that wonderful? Remember, guys, any questions you have, hashtag Safari Live on Twitter or on email, questions@WildEarthTV. Oh dear. No, there's still a bit of movement going on. But the animals are going to start getting mobile. Definite drop in the temperature now. Oh, there's one of the young females. Whoop. Oh, such a flurry of activity for about 30 to 45 seconds. Now they've seemed to have stagnated again. So we're going to be looking to the adults to get things moving. Oh, there we go. Oh, stretch. Definitely looking a bit more promising. I think I'm going to take this opportunity to put my jacket on just in case they start moving and I don't get a chance to once they're on the move. Station on Buffalo's Hook East coming. Oh, sorry, for all those wondering what we consider them getting mobile for the purpose of the friendly bet, is actually when they finish the greeting ceremony and actually start heading out away from this small area where they've been based for most of the day. Little boy's standing up and he's going to start making his way in, it looks like. Station on Buffalo's Hook East coming. They found it.
Should be able to see us there.
Confirm you have our visual. Sorry, I'm copying you 0 out of 5. Looks like they might have seen something. Notice how the female in the middle, her ears have gone facing forward, a lot flatter. There's that sort of intense focus on an area. Might have heard something, smelled something, or possibly seen something. And the young male's coming in. Boof. So the girls are definitely still interested in something. I can't see anything through here, but in front of me is really, really thick. I wonder what they've spotted. It'll be interesting to see if those two lionesses who've disappeared from the group are going to sort of start flanking and in hunting formation, because that lioness in the middle still hasn't taken her focus off that spot. Good afternoon, Tanya, from the UK. I'm very happy to hear you enjoying the live safaris. Very special and unique product, being able to watch animals in real time in Africa, all the way from the UK. The reason some of the animals have those sort of growths on their elbows is it's difficult to prove at this stage without doing blood work or not, but to me it looks like it's a case of feline tuberculosis. It's not the same as sort of the coughing tuberculosis, which is more common in people. And it depends on the individual. Some individuals can lead long, happy lives with those growths. In other individuals, the TB goes into other parts of the body and causes a drop in condition, and therefore can lead to a premature death. I hope that helps explain those. Brian, can you see where the ones behind us have gone?
Still just behind us.
Just behind us, okay, thanks. thought I heard a branch break in that area where that lioness is looking, but it's difficult to see from where we are. It's very thick in front of us. Negative. Sorry, Alex, the game drive vehicles were talking. Please go again with your message. Okay, copy. Alex, just stand by to come back quite quickly. The animals are showing interest in something. So there's definitely something there, or they've heard or smelled something. The two lionesses at the front, one's just turned her head now, but the one at the back here hasn't dropped her focus. Look how she's going into moving very, very slowly. Still focusing intently on that area. I really wish we could see what was there. And I think, Brian, of those other lionesses, I saw one going off around this thicket.
Oh, they're no longer behind us.
Afternoon, Vicky from Illinois. Welcome on Drive With Us. Vicky, there were 3 lionesses that were very focused. That looked like to be the 3 oldest. 2 have actually moved off and look like they might be taking up a hunting formation. Brian, can you see if last I saw a lion going off where that cub's going there? So they might be spreading out to hunt, and she's just keeping her eye on whatever's there. The lioness lying down in front of her was showing quite a bit of interest earlier and is now, but the 3 that look really chilled are the sub-adults. See, now the lioness up lying down in the front is also showing a bit more interest. And the light's dropping very quickly. Hopefully we don't get another burst of rain. See, come on. So there's definitely something. She's running off in hunting pose now. So she's making way around. The other 2 lionesses have gone off to the left. She's coming around the right. Unfortunately, I don't want to move right now because we'll make a lot of noise. We've got some lions still, the sub-adult and 1 female still lying here. So we're just going to sit tight and see what happens. So you see we've got the young male, he's not moving at all. Okay guys, what we're going to do is Mark's off and he says there's quite a big storm on its way towards us, so we're just going to cut to a shot quickly with us because we can't move now. So if we do hear anything with the lions, we'll cut straight back to us. And oh no, here comes the rain. Hopefully it'll be another little, hopefully it'll be a short burst or the wind blows it past us. Not yet, we're just going to put the rain.
I think we should start driving.
Hi everybody, well, Andrew and I, in our quest for animals and other things this afternoon, have been gifted to have some storms moving around us, and it's almost as though we've zigzagged our way in and out of these storms. We got caught at the edge of one of them earlier, and the second one that came past, well, looked like it was going to hit us, actually blew by towards the western, well, to the west, and headed up along the escarpment. But this one that was about to be hitting us now is already raining over Gowrie, western Gowrie, all the way up to Cheetah in the east. I can see that right now. Philemon's Dip is getting very wet, and I think any moment now that is going to be hitting Buffelshoek Dam. And it sounds like they're covering themselves up already. There are times when we can sit here and we can actually see the mast, the old mast at Buffelshoek Dam, although we're going to be taking it down soon, but we can see it from here, so I know almost exactly where it is, and it's about where that rain is about to hit. Once again, we're almost on the edge of it. We might catch a little bit of it, and I'm worried that if I'm going to race home now, I'm actually going to get caught in it, and I should probably head back towards Impala Plains, because it's going to be blowing past there. It's actually quite exciting. I'm shivering a little bit because it's brought with it a very cold wind. I've managed to put on a bit of a pullover. Andrew must be freezing right now, because we both didn't think that it was going to change temperature-wise as much as it has. And alright, I'm starting to get a bit of rain, so we're going to have to throw the cover. And I'll have to help Andrew quickly. Try and do it without. Just enough to cover the camera. Yeah, I think I'm going to let's try and drive. If we can't make it, but and the guys are going to get wet. If we can't make it, we're going to drive straight into it if we have to try and drive back to camp. So I'm going to try and drive away from it. Well, no, sorry, we're just going to have to cover. It's swinging this way. We can put a light on. It's not going to be long. I don't think it's going to be long at all. It's probably making a lot of noise, this cover on the microphone. Let's see if I can sort that out for you. Fortunately not too much wind for this one. That's why Brian used to have a stick in the car, and I always used to take it out.
Would make sense right now.
Yes. How long can you hold your oats like that? How long can you tread water? You don't have anything else to use. How long can you hold it up? I guess we'll see, won't we? Cool, that's bright.
Nice little workout there, Mark.
Two drinks, but no signal. Well, so I guess. Hang on, what's happening? No rain. There's no side of it, like you said. Well, it's just the corner of it that we got. Somehow we got. Keep it over there, but at least keep it open for me. I can breathe again. And what we're looking at is where they are getting drenched. Just before that little ridge. That ridge that you can see over there is actually the ridge of Cheetah, and sort of the northern end of that ridge is somewhere up here. And there's a little dip there where Buffalo's Dam is, and that's in in that darkness where Brent and the lion are. Not too bad. It's blowing over. Once again, we were lucky we got caught on the side of it, and well, it gives me a chance to go away from the storm. I'm glad we didn't make a run for camp, because we wouldn't have made it. We would have been driving right into it. Oh, I forgot to put it in those. A reverse line. And one of the wonderful things about this kind of weather that we're having, despite the fact that it's been a little bit windy, funny enough, the wind has dropped again. It's not really too bad. There are likely to be a few things coming out onto the road. Small creatures, not going to prompt or preempt what it might or might not be, but there's some things that only come out on these wet evenings in the summer. Might be a bit cold for many of them. It'd be very nice to find one or two things. Well, that was pretty amazing. And these storms are moving so fast, unbelievable. I suppose it's been an average of sort of 1 an hour, covering a lot of ground, almost being invisible in the south, and then just suddenly materializing and coming over from such a distance away. There are times, although we tend to spend most of our time underneath the canopy of the trees, and we don't get to see a very broad or panoramic view, there are times when we manage to do so. And I've made a point of looking at these, the direction of the storms and the way they were moving, all coming up from the south. Funny enough, I had a feeling we might get something, because there were floods down in our southeastern province of South Africa, a province known as KwaZulu-Natal. And very often when there's rain down there, we do get some of the residual effect of that raining down on us. This might just be the front of it. I lost the elephants, I'm sorry, I lost the elephants, and it's just as well because it was getting dark, there was a storm coming in, and well, they've got a lot to deal with children and all. They've got a lot to deal with when they're with their kids and they're moving through the bush, and it's getting dark and a storm's brewing with that kind of wind. They can get nervous. What they get nervous about, it's just I guess they just get nervous because it's hard to hear things. It's hard to hear where danger is coming from. It's hard to discern sounds. It can be quite noisy in the wind and the rain. Do you want to take that off completely now? Because I think we're pretty safe. Or are you happy like that?
I'm quite fine like it, sir.
So, sounds good to me. Interesting. I'm hearing a bit of chatter between Alex and Brent. Sounds like there's a bit of a challenge going on. I'm going to let Brent fill you in on the line. It sounds like it's closing, or the rain has stopped there as well. It's pretty much dried up here too. In fact, looking at the ground, doesn't seem to be that many drops even fell where we are now. And as soon as they get unwrapped, and as soon as they've anyways, hopefully they'll get the vehicle uncovered and we'll get a last glimpse of what the cats are doing. I just hope I can find you something in the meantime. We saw a snake yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah. Yesterday morning. Andrew's first snake. What was it, Andrew? Your snake yesterday that you saw, the first one?
Beg your pardon?
What snake did you see yesterday, that first snake?
Sningles.
Schlegel's blind snake.
Schlegel's blind snake, that's the one.
Well done. I mean, yeah, it was a beautiful little snake, but it's that kind of animal that I'm hoping that we might see out on the road now. Certain species of animals that live just under the surface of the sand, that love these wet evenings. The only times that they come out above ground and move about above ground. So I think we're coming towards the end of our drive. So, oh, no signal from. What did I just see? Fortunately, I couldn't find it again. I saw something there, but I guess there wasn't anything. It's easy to see things at night because of the lights, the eyes. We're going back to Brent. I'll catch up with you either late or first thing in the morning. And it's time to go and see what's happening with the lion before we say goodnight. From myself and Andrew, bye. Let me know.
Welcome back, guys. We're a bit damp. We had quite a heavy downpour, and we had managed to get the covers over, and we kept a very close look on the lions by peeking out under our tarpaulin. And it was Lynn, Charlie and Julia on Twitter who were correct, along with Brian. They got mobile and started hunting at 25 minutes past 6. And Tessie on email also got it right. Kathy on email. But now we're lucky. It is a lot darker than it would normally be at this time of the day. And Doris also got it right from Kentucky. And so we've got the lions on the move. They are unfortunately heading towards one of our boundaries, but we will stay with them as long as possible. So to follow up on what happened with that hunting incident, where they split off into those groups, we still don't know what it was, but whatever it was got away. So that was very unfortunate for the lions, very fortunate for whatever was the lions were trying to catch. And you can see the young boy being lazy. The rest of the pride is probably 50-60 meters up the road, and he's just decided to lie across the road. So as we were saying earlier in the drive, the best weapon in your arsenal, patience. So we've spent a long time this morning and a long time this afternoon waiting for the lions to get mobile, and we're very lucky. For the next while we're going to be able to spend our time with walking and moving lions rather than flat lions. Excuse me, young sir, you're going to get left behind. There we go. You see me, he listens. This is a perfect hunting night for the lions. Dark sky, so there's going to be very little ambient light. Still wind and bouts of little rain coming through. So if they want a really good night to hunt, tonight's the night. In these dark skies, lions on the hunt, it's almost this feeling in the air that something has to happen. There's someone cleaning and sharpening her claws on that little bush willow. Oh, next one. Oh, that looks like a very good stretch. What I'm going to try to do, guys, is I'm going to cut across this corner and try and link to the next road. Well, that's interesting. Bit of pseudo mating going on. Hold on, guys. Just gonna go over a stump. Oh. Just give me 2 to get into position to see their general behavior.
Let's get behind.
Sorry. Copy, thanks. Chasing the women. Nope. That's fine, she's just still walking up the road. We're just trying to get into a good position so we can see what they're going to do next. Okay guys, we just took a big shortcut to get in front of the lions. So just give me a second and I'll get us into a spot where we can see them again. Are we, Scott?
Yeah, we're good. 5 meters.
Oh dear. Okay. So we've got into position. We had to go through the bush to get past the line, so we didn't drive over them or through them, and we've now stopped. We're probably about 25-30 meters above them, and it looks like they're doing what lions do best. They've moved for about half an hour. They would have expended a bit of energy in that stalk, so we're going to sit tight for a little bit, see if they're going to move on any further. One of the big problems is we are right on our boundary, so the other side of that road, unfortunately, we can't traverse. But we've been very lucky this evening with the lions, and they have played ball, so to speak, even though we had to wait a long time for it to happen. Oh no, don't go that way. Copy, I will do if we do. It's very difficult to say what they're going to do now. Whether they're going to come back up the road or they're going to cross into Buffalo's Hook. Unfortunately, it's looking like they're going to cross into Buffalo's Hook. Oh dear. Oh, there we go. Okay guys, just going to go down up to them now, but unfortunately they are crossing our boundary, which is really sad, because I was quite excited to see the lions at action at night in this weather, which is really good for hunting. Okay, sorry guys, there they go down the road into Buffalo's Hook. Oh, sorry, they lost a little bit of playing. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to extend today because they're crossing our boundary, which is really frustrating for me as well as for you guys. But thanks very much for joining us, and thanks for your patience with us while we waited for those lions, because we spent most of the morning and most of the afternoon, but fortunately towards the end we did get to see a little bit of a movement, and hopefully next time we'll be able to follow them for a bit longer. From all of us here, from Scott, the tradie cameraman, from Brian, Alex and FC, and Mark and Andrew, have a wonderful evening, and we will see you tomorrow.